Judge Grayson thought he was sentencing a clueless teen until the defendant began unraveling the case like a seasoned lawyer. The air in the Los Angeles County Courthouse felt heavy, almost stifling, as rows of spectators filled the gallery, whispering among themselves, watching the drama unfold. The defendant's table seemed too large for the young man beside it, hands in pockets, chin tilted just enough to show defiance. Jalen Dawson, 19, accused of grand theft auto and resisting arrest. Serious charges, but the way Judge Walter Grayson eyed him made it clear. The real trial wasn't about the law. Grayson leaned back, fingers tapping lazily on his polished desk, peering at Jalen over his glasses, lips curling into a mix of smirk and sneer. You think you're some kind of legal hotshot? His voice dripped with dry amusement. This isn't debate club, kid. Laughter rippled through the courtroom. The bailiff, stenographer, even the prosecutor, all in on the joke. Jalen didn't blink, didn't laugh. He'd spent years prepping for this moment. Not this exact one. Never planned to be a defendant, but he knew courtrooms like his own reflection. While other kids memorized sports stats, he studied case law. While friends played games, he ran mock trials in his mind, arguing imagined cases against himself. His mother, Denise Dawson, a paralegal for over 2 decades, brought home stories, prosecutors cutting corners, judges picking favorites, defense attorneys barely trying. Jalen soaked it up. By 14, he could dissect a trial better than most law students. But to Grayson, he was just another troubled kid. Let's make this quick, the judge sighed, flipping open the case file. I've got golf at 2, more chuckles. But something shifted. Jalen's lips curled into a faint, subtle smirk. Grayson's first mistake, unnoticed by the room. Prosecutor Mitchell Carrington rose, suit crisp, tie flawless, voice brimming with rehearsed confidence, like he'd won already. Your Honor, the state will prove beyond doubt that Jalen Dawson was caught red-handed in a stolen 2022 Audi A6, reported missing hours before his arrest. Officers chased him through downtown where he tried to flee before being caught. His fingerprints were on the steering wheel. The evidence speaks for itself. The words hit hard, gallery shifting, whispering. It sounded airtight. Stolen, car, chase, arrest. Grayson glanced at Jalen, then back to Carrington. Go on. Carrington strode to the jury box, shoes clicking, a man in control. The defense may claim this was a mix-up, that Mr. Dawson's some poor victim of circumstance. He locked eyes with Jalen. But what kind of victim runs from police? Tension thickened. Grayson leaned forward, chin on hand. Jalen didn't flinch. Carrington flipped through papers. Your Honor, I have Officer Daniel Roos's testimony, who saw the defendant driving before he fled. The car was confirmed stolen. Arrest by the book. Grayson nodded, exhaling. Sounds clear to me. To most it was open and shut. But Jalen saw cracks, years of study honing his eye. He stayed quiet, watching, waiting. Grayson tapped his gavel lightly, defense's response. He looked to Jalen's lawyer, Lisa Thornton, a public defender who'd barely spoken. She stood, nervous. Your Honor, my client Jalen's hand touched her arm, a silent signal. She hesitated. Jalen spoke. I'll represent myself, Your Honor. Dead silence. Grayson stared, amused. You'll what? Jalen's voice was steady. I'll defend myself. Murmurs spread. The bailiff's brows shot up. Carrington's smirk faltered, then he laughed sharply. This'll be fun. But no one laughed when Jalen stepped forward, because everything was about to shift. The courtroom's weight pressed around Jalen as he adjusted his stance, hands still pocketed. He let silence linger, making them uneasy, then spoke. Your Honor, before I start, I'd like to confirm something with the prosecution. Carrington raised a brow, arms crossed. Go ahead, Jalen. Stepped forward slowly. You said Officer Ruiz personally saw me driving before my arrest. Correct. Carrington exhaled, bored. That's right. His report says so. Jalen nodded. Then, Your Honor, I move to dismiss that testimony as evidence. Grayson squinted. On what grounds? Jalen's hands left his pockets, gesturing to the prosecution's table. Because Ruiz wasn't even on duty when the chase started, let alone saw me. Confusion flickered on Carrington's face. What are you talking about? Jalen turned to Grayson. Your Honor, I request to verify Officer Ruiz's GPS logs from that night. If his report claims he saw me, his location should match, but he paused. I'm betting it won't. Murmurs grew louder. Grayson frowned, eyeing Carrington. Counselor Carrington's jaw tightened. That report's from an officer of the law. Your Honor, are we trusting a defendant over a professional? Jalen shrugged casually. If Ruiz was where he said, GPS will prove it. If not, he let it hang. Grayson studied him, then turned to Carrington. Any issue with verifying the GPS logs? Carrington hesitated. A pause. The jury, gallery, and judge noticed. Jalen exhaled quietly. He knew prosecutors, their tactics, their system games. If Carrington was sure, he wouldn't stall. Grayson sighed, rubbing his temple. Counselor? Carrington shook his head. No objections. But the tide was turning. No one was laughing now. Silence gripped the courtroom, tension screaming. Carrington shuffled papers. Confidence fraying. Your Honor, while we wait for GPS records, the defendant's fingerprints were on the stolen vehicle's steering wheel. Jalen nodded, face blank. True, he stepped forward, but let's discuss that. Your Honor, may I address the jury? Grayson gestured to go on. Jalen faced them, locking eyes with each juror. The prosecution says my fingerprints prove I stole the car. That's their story. But let's think logically. He took a breath, voice calm, controlled. Say you're in a store, try on a jacket, hands in pockets, zip it up, then leave it and walk out. Hours later, someone steals it. Do your fingerprints make you the thief? Jurors glanced at each other. A gallery mutter broke the quiet. Jalen pressed on. The car was parked outside 7 to 11 hours before the theft. I was there with friends, leaned on it, opened the unlocked door out of curiosity. Didn't drive, didn't steal, just a dumb moment. He paused, then cut through the silence. Does touching something make you a criminal? Carrington cleared his throat, flipping notes, scrambling for control. Jalen didn't stop. And the fingerprint analysis, Your Honor, was the forensic specialist subpoenaed. Grayson blinked, caught off guard. He looked to Carrington, who hesitated. No. Jalen's lips pressed tight. So the state uses forensics to convict me, but didn't bother bringing the specialist for cross-examination to verify chain of custody or accuracy. Carrington's jaw clenched. Grayson sighed, pinching his nose. The case wasn't the slam dunk, he'd thought. Jalen wasn't done. The next move would flip the table. Jalen stepped forward, voice firm, steady. Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence. A statement from the car's owner. Grayson frowned. The owner? Jalen nodded. Yes, Raymond Whitaker, the Audi's owner, gave a police statement never filed by the prosecution, and I think I know why. He turned to Carrington. Do you recall what Whitaker told officers that night? Carrington's jaw locked. He knew what was coming. Jalen didn't wait, pulling a transcript and reading. I left my car running at the gas station. Some kid took off in it, but not the guy you arrested. I saw him, he was white. A gasp swept the courtroom. Jalen held up the paper. This is from the original police report, ignored by the prosecution. They want you to believe I, who doesn't match the description, am guilty beyond doubt. Carrington jumped up. Your Honor, this is irrelevant. The defendant was in possession. Jalen cut in, calm but razor sharp. No. I was arrested blocks away, walking home, after snacks with friends, not in the car, not near it, not running. The only tie is sloppy police work and assumptions. Grayson exhaled, rubbing his temple. The case unraveled fast. Everyone felt it. Jalen faced the jury. The real thief escaped. Cops grabbed a black kid nearby and called it a day. That's this case's truth. Silence fell. Grayson cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses. Prosecution? Anything further? Carrington, stiff, flushed, muttered, No, Your Honor. Grayson eyed Jalen, then the jury, and spoke words that echoed. Case dismissed. Stunned silence. Then chaos. Half the room erupted in disbelief. Some in quiet relief. Reporters scribbled. Gallery stirred. Jalen stood still, letting it sink in. Grayson, gavel in hand, looked at him, with a new expression, recognition, maybe regret. Jalen met his gaze, then turned to leave. Mr. Dawson? Grayson called. Jalen paused. You should consider law school. Jalen smirked. He was already headed there. Outside, the courthouse buzzed with voices. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashing, mixed like spears. Jalen, did you expect dismissal? What's next? How's it feel to outsmart a prosecutor? Jalen pulled his hoodie up, ignoring the noise. This wasn't about ego, it was bigger. Denise waited at the steps, arms crossed, face unreadable. She stared, then exhaled. Boy, you scared me to death, Jalen chuckled, scratching his head. Took a risk, Ma. She stared, then hugged him tight. Always the stubborn one. Cameras flashed, but Jalen ignored them. Across the street, Grayson watched from his car, arrogance gone, face reflective. He'd expected routine. Another day, another guilty plea. But Jalen made him remember this one. Jalen did what few could. Forced the system to face itself. It blinked first. The lesson hits hard. How many cases run like this? How many convicted by bias? Shortcuts. A system prizing closed cases over truth. Jalen had knowledge. To fight, what about those who don't? This wasn't one case, it's all of them. Jalen knew his next step. More courtrooms. Not as defendant, but attorney. Next time, he wouldn't be alone. If this story stirred you, share it. The justice system runs on laws, but people run it, and people can change. If we push, like, subscribe, keep talking. Next time it might not be Jalen, it might be someone you know.